All right, what's up, guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video, we're going to be having a little bit of fun. We're going to be making a Paladin, or as you can see at the type down at the bottom, a Light Guardian hero. This is meant to be a very lighthearted, casual video. Not, nothing crazy going on. Just going to have a little bit of fun, do some brainstorming, think outside the box. And I want this to be somewhat of like a, a speculative video. We're like, what do you guys think? How do you guys think LSS would build a hero in this game that was a Light Guardian hero? Okay, so again, a little bit of fun, thinking outside the box, brainstorming, theory crafting. That is the direction of today's video. Very chill, very laid-back video for today. I'll try to have everything timestamped down in the comment section below because, guys, I do have a slideshow prepared for us for this video. All right, so I'll have everything timestamped, any kind of, I'll have everything, timestamped, and any kind of relevant links I'll have down in the comment section below if there are any. All right, so you know what you're getting into, guys? Let's go ahead and just dive straight into this. Now, again, guys, we're just kind of trying to figure out what would happen if LSS were to make a Light Guardian hero in the future. So if you have any ideas, please put them in the comment section below. Help me out. Let's try to figure this out. And who knows? Maybe they're watching this. Maybe in the future they'll watch. Someone from LSS will stumble across this video and they will fulfill my wish, my dream and desire for there to one day be a Light Guardian hero in this game. All right. Now we can actually get into the video. Sorry, I had a little miniature rant there. So a Paladin, right? That's for those who do not know. In the background here, I have photoshopped a little picture of Uther the Lightbringer from World of Warcraft. That's a Paladin in a whole nother game called World of Warcraft. He's a legendary figure in that lore, and I put him in here. Now, what's going on this picture here? Right away, do you see the direction I'm going with it? Light Guardian hero, 40 life, and with this frame. They could come out with a way cooler frame, I'm sure, for like a Light Guardian specific hero. And I hope they do if they ever decide to make this kind of hero. But I have to say this. I have mentioned this in previous videos. This is the hero that I would main, like, religiously. No pun intended, right? With the whole Paladin religious theme with the holy light and everything. But this is the hero that I would main if it ever came out in this game. I am a Paladin at heart. Every game that I play, if there is a Paladin class available, that's me. I'm going there. You know what I mean? So with that in mind, of course I had to make this video. This is something that I've had on my to-do list for quite some time for Flesh and Blood. It's another one of the many reasons I wanted to start a Flesh and Blood channel. So y'all bear with me for this video. I know this kind of video is not for everyone. I totally understand that. I feel you. But hey, we're just going to have a little bit of fun along the way. All right, so real quick to answer, and I can feel like people are going to say, hey, just play Bolton. I feel like there's like this, I'm predicting someone will say, hey, just play Bolton. No thanks. Never. Not even close. That is a light warrior, okay? He is wielding a sword. Notice the guy in the picture here. I want someone with a hammer, an absolute, I just want this guy to have a hammer, and I want him to just be a, it's kind of like an old school theme within like Dungeons and Dragons. If you're like a holy priest of some sort, like, and you have some type of holy power or light force power, whatever it might be, well, you can't have a sword. You can't have a bladed object because your Bible, of course, your Libram, your Tome, that's your sword, right? So you have to have a mace. You have to, bludgeon your opponents into dust, right? You have to crush them. You can't use a sword to cut them. You have to use a blunt force weapon. Some type of mace or hammer or something like that, right? I don't know where that actually comes from, but I have heard that from somewhere. I can't remember exactly. Okay, now, we've seen this character here in the front, this idea of what a hero could look like. Notice there is no text. That's something, that's for this video. What kind of effect will we have? We're going to look at some weapons in this video. We're going to look at some actions, some attack actions and everything, and try to figure out how would you build this hero? If LSS came to you, each and every one of us, right? Like, how should we build a Light Guardian hero? And they were to interview every one of us. What would your thoughts be on this? So I'm going to give you mine now. Okay, first things first, I do want to move my head out of the way. That'll help. Let me move my head down to this corner here. I'll just shrink it for this part of the video. What we're looking at right now is all of the heroes that exist in Flesh and Blood currently. These are the adult heroes, living legend, everything. This is all of them. Now, I want to mention something. There is no Light Guardian, right? So we don't even know what it would look like just yet. But we will look at some Light talent heroes and some Guardian class heroes. We'll look at that in a little bit. But I do want to show you guys something real quick. And I think I have mentioned this in another video, but it's a lot easier for me to show it in slideshow format. So here's all of the heroes, right? Guess which ones have Living Legend? Ta-da! Yeah, it's these, right? Okay, now, one thing you'll notice is I have color-coded these. Guess what all of the green squares have in common? Hint, it's their talent, right? All of the green squares, Living Legend heroes, they are elemental heroes. Guardian and Oldhim are elemental guardians. Bravo. Sorry, guys. Bravo and Oldhim are elemental guardians. Briar is, of course, an elemental runeblade. Icelander, elemental wizard. And Lexi is an elemental ranger. Purple chain up there, he is a shadow runeblade. Prism is a light illusionist. And now we have the new Prism, right? And then Dromai, of course, is a draconic illusionist. But I just want to point out that, for anyone who might be thinking like, oh, light illusionist will just, light guardian as a combination of a class and a talent, it would be too strong. I don't know. Maybe it might be, because I could hear some people maybe thinking that, just like I predict, some people will say, oh, Bolton's too, just play Bolton if you're trying to go with the Paladin feel. Okay, I hear you, but it's not really my thing. And I think some people will also maybe say like, oh, a light guardian would just be too strong, especially when we get into some of the defensive reactions and things like that. Maybe. We'll have to see. It's something for us to think about and talk about and have fun speculating with. But one more thing I do want to mention is if you notice all 8 of these Living Legend heroes, the adult versions, all of them have a talent plus class. I'm just saying there is something to that. At least I think there is in my mind. Hopefully LSS just does know about that, and hopefully they're working to balance things in the future. But okay, yeah, I need them to give me a light. I just need them to add a light guardian hero to the mix. That would be so nice. I really would like that. Okay, now let's get back into it. Back into gear here. How are we going to build a light guardian hero? I feel like I lost my train of thought there, guys. I apologize if I did. Y'all tell me in the comment section below if I didn't finish the thought out there. Now, let's go into here, and I want to move my camera all the way back to the top, and I can actually make it bigger now so you can see me better, because now we are going to zoom in on some stuff here. You don't really need to see their names, just their effects. And I need to be able to see their effects too, so let me put the glasses on. So, let's get an idea of how Guardians function and how we can tie them in with light heroes as well. And I will say this up front, guys. The closest I've seen to a Paladin style, like totally, the epitome of a Paladin archetype within this game would be Oldhim. Now, he is an elemental guardian, and I feel like a Paladin, quote-unquote, should be a light guardian. But listen to what he does. Once per turn reaction, pay 3, and if an Earth card is pitched this way, prevent the next 2 damage that would be dealt to Oldhim this turn. And if an Ice card is pitched this way, the attacking hero puts a card from their hand on top of their deck. So it's got disruption, it's got damage prevention. I love this. Like, this is exactly what I want in a light guardian effect. Just straight up something along these lines. It doesn't have to be the exact same. In fact, I think since, if it's going to be a light guardian, I do think there should be some type of combination with the color yellow, like what we see with Prism. I think there probably needs to be something like that, and it would also balance the fact that, we're going to have guardian actions in here, some very powerful guardian actions. So, forcing more yellow cards into the mix might be a way to balance that, if that makes sense. Hopefully. I know that was a little clumsy. If you guys have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please put them in the comment section below. Do not hesitate. Excuse me, I just ask that you be respectful, be civil, please. So what I'm suggesting would be cool for a light guardian hero ability would be once per turn defense reaction, pay 2, so like a yellow card is what you're pitching. If an see, that's where it gets tricky. Maybe if it is a light card, if a light card is pitched this way, prevent the next 1 damage, or actually make it prevent the next 2 damage and then no disruption. And then maybe make it where, okay, if you pitched an earth card, or excuse me, I keep doing that. If you pitched a light card, you can do damage prevention. And if you pitched a guardian card, then maybe it could be something like that secondary effect where it's like they have to put a card from their hand on top of their deck. Something along those lines. That would be really cool. That's what I would prefer in a a hero effect for a light guardian. Now, Bravo, star of the show over here, he has something that's interesting as well. At the start of your turn, you may reveal an Earth, Ice, and a Lightning card from your hand. And if you do, the next attack action card with a cost of 3 or greater you play this turn gains +2, Dominate, and Go Again. Now, check this out. I do think the Soul should be something that the Light Guardian really focuses on. And I think, and we'll talk more about that as we get into the Light cards, but I think that should be tied into the leader effect in some way. Which would be even better than what's going on with this, what I said with the Oldhim effect. So imagine instead if this Elemental Guardian Bravo over here said, at the start of your turn, you may reveal a Light and Guardian card. And if you do, the next attack action card with a cost of 3 or greater you play this turn gains +2, Dominate, and instead of Go Again, if it hits, goes into your hero's soul. You know what I mean? I think that would be really, really cool. Because I do want to access the soul of this character. Like, I think that would be a really beneficial thing, and it could make it very unique and interesting. And it will also branch away from some of the more very powerful Guardian cards. You'd still want to use some of those super powerful Guardian cards. We're going to look at those in a minute. But you'd also have ideas, you know, to be able to access other powerful cards, like from the light cards, like Celestial Cataclysm, which we'll look at later. Okay, let's keep going. So now let's look at some light heroes. Now, this is a light illusionist and a light warrior. Let's check these out. Of course, we have Prism on the left and Bolton on the right. Notice how they're worded. Whenever a card with Herald in its name is put into Prism's soul during an action phase, you may search your deck for a Figment and put it into the arena, then shuffle. So this one is probably the least like what we're trying to do, right? Like, the illusionist heroes are very much like spellcasters. They're not really anything like guardians. So, but I could still get some kind of inspiration from that, especially with the once per turn instant part here. Pay 2 and banish a card from Prism Soul, awaken target figment you control. That would be really cool with, like, that bottom effect could be way cooler for the the light guardian hero, if it was like pay 2 and do something with the hero's soul, right? Like pay 2, banish a card from the hero's soul, and then get some type of effect from that. Maybe give the effect Dominate, or give the effect something else. I don't know. That, like I said, that one's the least likely to make what we're trying to do here, but who knows? You know, I just wanted to include it just so we have some kind of idea. But this next part for Bolton is this is at least something along the lines of like a light warrior, so light guardian, not too far off with what's going on here. If you've charged this turn, your attacks get +1 while defending by an attack action card. Excuse me, if you've charged this turn, your attacks get +1 while defended by an attack action card. Sorry about that. That I don't really like. I would much rather, instead of us being more offensive, I would rather us be more defensive. So in other words, if it says something like, if you've charged this turn, your attacks get, if this hits a hero, or if this hits, put it into your hero's soul. That I'd be much happier with. And then the attack reaction, I'd rather be some type of defense reaction, but attack reaction, banish a card from Bolton's soul, target attack with attack greater than its base gets Go Again. Again, I'd rather like remove a card from soul, defense reaction, and then do something like, like what Oldhim does over here to prevent the next 2 damage, something along those lines. I would much rather be something along that. Okay, very good stuff though. Very cool ideas there, and hopefully that can give us some inspiration on, some inspiration on how to build this hero, if it were to exist. Okay, all right. Next up, we got Titan's Fist and Winter's Veil. This is another reason why I'm so anti Bolton. I'm not anti Bolton the hero. I don't care who plays the hero. It has nothing to do with that. But it's like, if you're going to be an elemental, or excuse me, not an elemental, a light guardian, a paladin type of character or hero, you have to have a hammer. You just have to. And I know some people are probably, some people who play World of Warcraft are like, hey, Tyrion Fordring had Ashbringer. I get it. and that's fine. I would consider that a light warrior. So it's almost like this is going to be totally foreign for some people. I don't know. Most people might understand it. A Retribution Paladin, I could see having like an axe or a sword. No problem. He is there to enact Retribution. But a Holy Paladin or a Protection Paladin, you got to have the hammer, dude. You just have to have... And not even... Like, I know some Paladins have the two-handed hammer, but I'm all about the one-handed hammer and the shield. Or the one-handed hammer and the book, the Tome, or the Libram. We'll talk about that in a minute as well. Now, here's what I would want the card to be. Excuse me. As far as like what I would want the Paladin's weapon to be, I would absolutely want it to be pay 3, and that makes it hard, right? That would make it hard because a lot of your cards would be yellows, right? But pay 3 and attack, and then deal 4 damage. And if this hits, you ready for this, guys? I think this would be kind of cool. You guys know what y'all think? So if this hit, if the hammer hits, banish a card from your pitch zone, or not banish, put a card from your pitch zone. You get to choose the one. Choose one card from your pitch zone for the turn and put it into your hero's soul. So that way you're having to pay 3, so you have to in some way be able to pay for this, from your pitch zone, and then you can put it into put one of those cards into your hero's soul, which I think would be really nice. It would be kind of, I don't know, they'd have to find a way to balance it. I would really like for it to be a pay 2, but I don't know, there does have to be some type of inconvenience in some ways when they make these heroes, right? It like balances them. But yeah, anyway, real quick, let me read what Winter's Wail does and what Titan's Fist does. Once per turn action, pay 3 attack. This is Winter's Wail I'm reading first. If an ice card is pitched this way, Winter's Wail gains, if this hits a hero, create a Frostbite token under their control. And just like I was saying, I would like for it, instead of us putting a Frost token under their control and like manipulating our opponent's turn, I would rather us just be able to gain a card we pitched and put it into our hero's soul so that we can fuel future actions of our hero. Titan's Fist is very good as well. Once per turn action, pay 3 and attack. While there is a card with cost 3 or greater in your pitch zone, Titan's Fist has +1 attack. And maybe that could be a way to make, this Paladin Light Hero's weapon, or Light Guardian's weapon, maybe make it something like pay 2 to attack, and it deals 2 damage. But if you, while there's a card with a cost 3 or greater in your pitch zone, give it +1. So instead, maybe give it a, let me think about this. How could we make this work for just paying 2 and to get +2 for some type of effect? Maybe if a card was put into your hero's soul this turn, you can get +2 for the turn. You know what I mean? So in other words, it would read, but if you had a card go to your hero's soul this turn, it gets +2, and make it a 2-cost deal 2. So in other words, it could be a 2-cost deal 4 if you were somehow able to make a card go to your hero's soul, or otherwise it's just a pay 2 deal 2. You know what I mean? Maybe something like that. Again, guys, I'm just coming up with ideas here. Don't attack me for these. I'm not saying I should be working for LSS or something like that, but I think these would be really cool ideas. Okay, so for the weapon, again, I think it should be a hammer, and I would, ideally or realistically, I'd want it to be a pay 3, deal 4. If it hits, put a card from your pitch into your hero's soul. I think that would be, like, completely ideal. Okay, next up. So I have Valiant Dynamos on here. This is a warrior equipment, but bear with me. What I would want for our Light Guardian's shield is some type of combination of Valiant Dynamos with Stalagmite over here, where, excuse me, I should have put the other shield. I can't remember the name of the other shield. It's just a block for 2 with Temper. That's what I should have put on here. In fact, let me bring it up. Hang on one second, guys. I can bring it up over here, because I do want you guys to know what I'm talking about, because I'm still learning some of these names, so bear with me. Cards, offhand. Excuse me. It is Steel Braid Buckler, which has, it is just a Guardian equipment offhand that blocks for 2 with Temper. Now, here's what I would want to happen. You guys ready for this? I would want the shield to have exactly what I just said, so it'd be a Light Guardian offhand. So only this guy could wear it, right? He's the only one who would be able to use it. Light Guardian offhand. And here's what I would want it to do. Instead of this whole Frostbite shenanigans, I would rather be more along the lines of Valiant Dynamo, where we're able to cash in cards from our soul to take armor counters, you know, -1 counters to our armor off of it. Does that make sense? So in other words, what I'm saying is this is what it would read. It would be whatever the name is. Whenever you defend with this card, well, no, it wouldn't say that at all. Excuse me. It would just be a temper. It would have temper and block for 2. Let me zoom back some so you guys can see it. Can y'all see it still? Yeah. So it would have temper, block for 2, and then it would have what Valiant Dynamo says, but with soul instead. So it would say at the beginning of your end phase, you may banish 1 card from your soul and remove a -1 counter from whatever the card's name is, right? And that way, think about that for a second. So if you block for 2 and you're not, and at the end of the turn, if you remove it, you'll be able to go back up to 2. However, if you can't remove a card from your soul, if you block with it next turn, it gets destroyed, right? Because Temper says if it goes to 0, destroy it. So I think that'd be like a cool way to balance it, and it would also make make our hero very resilient. And that's one thing I want to mention too. I probably should have mentioned this earlier. When I think of a light guardian, I'm thinking of a hero that is very, very resilient. Like, I want a hero who can fatigue, who can control the game, and I don't think they really should have these really massive attacks. I mean, I know Guardian has some absolutely, like, the biggest attacks in the game, but the way you'd want to build this hero, I would want to make it where they're kind of forced into yellow. Like, force them into the yellow path, and that would get rid of some attacks right off the bat, right? Anyway, again, this is just all ideas, guys. We're just trying to brainstorm. So for their shield, I would want it to be something along these lines where it's like stalagmite, well, not stalagmite, where it's more like this, the steel braid buckler I was talking about, where it's just a block for 2 with temper, but then have some way to be able to remove the counters from it with cards from your soul by having to banish them at the end of your turn. I think that would be really cool, and a really cool way to use the cards from your soul that you're getting in there. Okay, next up. As far as like the helmet and chest go, these are just really strong generic Guardian equipment pieces that I think would just be great. Like, you know, the Helm of Eisen's Peak is perfect. It even looks like Paladin-esque to me personally. I know that's like just me saying that, or, you know, it's just like my own opinion. But I think it looks very Paladin-esque. And it's like, okay, battle worn, so you'll get 1 free block out of it, but then action, pay 1 to destroy Helm of Eisen's Peak. Your hero gains +1 until end of turn. That just screams Paladin to me, because I've mentioned this before as well. You know, Paladin is like the strength intellect hybrid class when it comes to like D&D and RPGs. So like, oh yeah, being able to go up 1 intellect, 1,000,000%. This helmet would be perfect for what we're doing. Tectonic plating as well. Seismic surge. See, now this would be great. This would be great with the seismic surge stuff. If they're forcing, you know, if we make the hero and a lot of the effects force us into yellow cards, getting the seismic surge tokens would be really nice to pay for our Guardian actions. You know what I mean? I feel like that would be really nice. And this is battle worn, of course, as well. If you defend with tectonic plating, put a -1 counter on it when the combat chain closes. So we can wear this and then use it whenever we want to. Same thing with Helm of Eisen Peak. I feel like these would be absolutely perfect for this direction of the hero. You guys tell me what y'all think. I know I'm doing a lot of talking, but tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. Another option is this Grimoire of the Haunt. Like, not this. Obviously, I don't want this one with the Blood Debt. You know, this is for a Shadow Runeblade. But remember in the picture, guys, I do have the picture right here. I'll bring it up. Will it come up? No, I have where it... Never mind, you won't be able to see it because I have a slideshow up. But, well, y'all still should have been able to see it. That's... Oh, I changed the name of it. That's what happened. It's not finding it. Give me 1 second, guys. Let me bring this up real quick so y'all can see what I'm talking about. Give me just a moment. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, it was looking for the file. It's like, this file does not exist. This file does not exist because I moved it over to the slideshow, to a slideshow folder. So remember with this hero right here, guys, on the screen, look at his hand. Look what's in his left hand. In his right hand, he's got the hammer, right? But in the left hand, he's got this Tome of Divinity or something, right? Whatever it is. And, you know, that's, of course, the next card we're going to look at. Sorry, that's a little bit of a spoiler. But, like, there's, like, this tome in his left hand for him to fight evil with, to fight, you know, whatever force of darkness he's fighting, whoever the villain is, whoever his opponent is. And now let me move it before I forget. With Grimoire of the Haunt, you know, I like that idea, I'm not going to lie. Because in this case, being a light guardian, maybe having a grimoire or, you know, a book, you know, a tome or a Libram, whatever you want to call it, maybe that would make a lot of sense. instead of having the shield. Maybe that would be too strong. Like, let me go back real quick, guys. Like, for this idea, maybe they give us a card like Valiant Dynamo as like either gloves or as feet, something along those lines, and that way we won't have a shield that does something that strong if people think that effect is too strong for a light guardian, which it could be. You know what I mean? Bear with me, guys, like I said. And maybe for our offhand, maybe we'd be forced into something like this Tome, which gives us more utility. Maybe something along those lines. I don't know. Maybe something to draw us a card. I don't even know. Creating tokens, things like that. Having Arcane Barrier. Or maybe that's another thing. Maybe our Tome would have Arcane Barrier on it, and maybe our shield would be more for the physical attack heroes. I think that'd be kind of cool. Just an idea. Speaking of Tomes, of course, like I said, the next card was going to be Tome of Divinity. I think this card would be really cool in a deck like that. And remember, guys, for those who are not aware, Seismic Surge, if I'm not mistaken, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but Seismic Surge can only be used on Guardian actions. It might. I have this up on the other side here. I think it's even Guardian attack actions. Hang on one second. Seismic. I got up on the other screen. Okay, yeah, so Seismic Surge says at the beginning of your action phase, destroy this, and then the next Guardian attack action card you play this turn costs 1 less to play. So remember, guys, we wouldn't be able to use that for this card. So it wouldn't be like busted or anything like that. And this card would just be really interesting. And again, if we're playing all around the idea of our soul, if a card has been put into your hero's soul this turn, instead draw 3 cards. Like, that could be really, really interesting in a light Guardian hero, you know, deck or whatever. Just an idea, just a thought. Excuse me. And maybe that's even something that could be done, like I said, if we were to make like a actual equipment for the hero that's like a grimoire. Maybe this thing would say pay 3, like maybe it has Arcane Barrier 1 or 2 or something like that, and then pay 3, banish this card, and then draw 2 cards. You know what I mean? Something along those lines. Like, you know, and have it be like instant speed so you wouldn't have to, or give it go again, whichever one works. Something along those lines would be kind of cool. Okay, now let's talk about some of the actions, you know, some of the Guardian actions. I would want Crush to be a big part of our Guardian, our Light Guardian actions, right? So Light Guardian means the other Guardians can't run it, right? Only a Light Guardian would be able to run it, so it would only be this one hero. And I think Crush would be a big deal. And I think they would need to print like an entire set of cards, like a blue, yellow, and red of the same card. Like, let's just say it's called... you know, I don't know, just generic name for a blue version, a yellow version, and a red version. And I would want it to say Crush, and then it would be if whatever the card's called deals 4 or more damage to the hero, this card goes into your hero's soul. You see what I'm saying? Just like how the angels are made, the heralds are made for Prism, where it's like if these hit, goes into your hero's soul. And I think they would need an entire, like I said, blue, yellow, red playset of a Light Guardian attack action that literally have it be just like Crush the Weak here. So have it be pay 3 and it deals, you know, have the red one deal 7, the yellow one deal 6, and the blue one deal 5 and block for 3. And then if it hits, it goes to soul. Yeah, I mean, I think that would be really cool. I think that'd actually be really interesting. Let's keep going here. There are some cards that some people would probably be concerned with. Like, man, these cards are absolutely insane. If you could somehow combo these with a Light Guardian, maybe they'd be too strong. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe they would be. Maybe they wouldn't be. It's hard to say. But like Pulverize, for example, heave 3 at the beginning of your end phase. If Pulverize is in your hand and you have an empty arsenal, you may pay 3 and put Pulverize face up into your arsenal. And if you do, create 3 Seismic Surge tokens. Right? So then it's only going to cost 4 next turn. Right? Pretty much. Excuse me. Well, no, excuse me. It'll still cost a lot next turn. Hang on. I just completely messed that up. You pay 3, and then you could put it into your arsenal and create 3 Seismic Surge tokens. So it'll cost 7 next turn, but it'll come in for 14. And if it hits a hero, their first attack during the next turn does -4, blocks for 3. I don't think that would be that busted in the deck we're talking about. Because think about what we're trying to do. We're not really creating a lot of Seismic Surge tokens. I don't know. Maybe they would want to do that. It really depends. You know, this all depends on what LSS would want to do if they ever even want to make a hero like this, where they're a Light Guardian hero. You know what I mean? But if they, you know, if they choose to make that, I think they would want to make it way more built around the yellow cards, because that would balance it far more, so that it could have cards like this in the deck and it not be totally broken. Because Asunder, guys, that card's absolutely insane, right? It blocks 3, it costs 3, it pitches for 3. Your next Guardian attack this turn gains +1, dominate, And if this hits a hero, they discard 2 cards, go again. That is nutty, right? That card is absolutely disgusting. Okay, let's keep going. I would also, one more thing I want to say is, like, notice how the frame is on these. Imagine how cool a light Guardian frame or border would look. I think that would just look so amazing. Like, with, like, I don't even know how they would do it, to be honest, but it would have to be something along this line, these lines here, but with gold inlays everywhere. It would just look really cool, I bet. Some other cards to consider. Yeah, these are very strong. Spinal Crush and Staunch Response. Now, I know Staunch Response you can get as yellow, but I think Spinal Crush only comes in red. I could be mistaken. I'll look it up over here just so I don't sound crazy. I'm like 90% sure. Let me look up Spinal. Yeah, this only comes in red. So Spinal Crush is a card, like, if you'd want to run it in a deck like this with our hero, like, yeah, it's a great card and it's worth messing around with, but at the same time, it would be very hard to balance this because it costs 5, and you'd have a deck that primarily would consist of, like, yellow cards. So you see how they, I mean, again, we're just speculating, but do you see how this could all be balanced in a way that makes sense? Like, this could all be balanced in a way that's very, you know, how do I say this? If they balance the hero around really capitalizing on yellow cards, then cards like Spinal Crush that cost 5, you know, all of a sudden it's just not the greatest card. Now, one thing I will say is, like, the defensive capabilities of a deck like this, running something like Staunch Response, would probably be crazy, right? Because we haven't got to the yellow cards yet with, like, Soul Shield and stuff like that. That would just, I just think that'd be cool, though, too. Like, having this insanely defensive deck, it would just stop certain decks in their tracks. Like, any deck that's trying to go super tall against you, you'd probably just be able to stop in their tracks, and I think that'd be really cool. Okay, so Spinal Crush, like I said, if Spinal Crush deals 4 or more damage to a hero, action cards, activated abilities, and attacks they control lose and cannot gain go again during their next action phase. 5 damage, deal 9, block 3, it has Crush. And I do like Crush, like I said. I think that is a really strong keyword for what we would need to be doing as a light Guardian. I think that is, like, a very good idea for it. Staunch Response, I'm a big fan of this as well. And it's, you know, this one is, it's a 2-cost defense reaction that blocks for 7, which, again, that's actually perfect. And who knows, since we're trying, you know, if this did work out where they wanted it to be like yellow Crush Soul, you know, synergy, then maybe we just run the yellow Staunch Response, you know, which is just a pay 2 block 6, just like Soul Shield. It's like a secondary Soul Shield, you know what I mean? Which would be really cool. And of course, as an additional cost to play Staunch Response, you may pay 4, and if you do, Staunch Response gets +3. Very, very powerful defensive reaction. Now, speaking of that, I had this set up just after that so we could look at it. Really incredible here. Soul Shield, pay 2, block 6, and this one goes to your hero's soul, right? So Soul Shield still would take precedence over something like Staunch Response because it doubles over as a way to, you know, get cards in your soul. But let's not forget, Staunch Response would just be a slightly weaker version of Soul Shield in the deck, and it could potentially be an even stronger version if you need to, you know, block out of something massive. So really cool stuff there. Okay, I've got a few more slides here. We're almost done. Seek Enlightenment. Check this one out, guys. Pay 1. The next attack action card you play this turn gains +3, and if this hits, put it into your hero's soul. Go again. Like, an effect like this would be really cool with the Guardian cards and with a hero that capitalizes on stuff in your soul. You know, like I said, whether it be mitigating out of attacks, like with the equipment piece we were talking about earlier, like some type of Valiant Dynamo effect, or even if it's cards like on the right here, Celestial Cataclysm, which we're about to look at. I just think that would just be awesome. But again, Seek Enlightenment. It only costs 1. It has Go Again. It does block for 2, which is kind of weak, but hey, look what it's doing. The next attack action card you play this turn gains +3, and it'll go to your soul if it hits. So that would be really, really strong. And then, of course, like I said, Celestial Cataclysm, we all know what this does, right? 0 cost, 7/3. As an additional cost to play Celestial Cataclysm, you have to banish 3 cards from your hero's soul, and it gets Go Again. So really cool stuff there. All right. I think we got like 2 more slides here. Light of Soul, of course, if it did become like a yellow thing, like where we really want to have all these really strong yellow interactions, Light of Soul would just be incredible, right? Because, okay, you're pitching 4/2, and when this is pitched, you reveal the top card of your deck. If it's yellow, you can put it right in your hero's soul. Again, you're fueling the soul, so that way, you know, with cards like and by the way, Seek Enlightenment, this comes in red, yellow, or blue, so maybe in a deck like this, you'd want it in yellow anyway. right? And Celestial Cataclysm's only in yellow, of course. But Light of Soul, this would be, you know, very strong in a deck like that. In a deck like that, this card would be very good. And then last but not least, we have Grandeur of Valahai. This is a Guardian resource, so when you pitch Grandeur of Valahai, create a Seismic Surge token. So that would just be awesome, right? You could create Seismic Surge tokens for, well, it'd be for your next turn, right? Because I believe these pop at the beginning. I gotta look it up again, guys. Sorry, I'm not a Guardian main. I can tell you that much. But a Seismic Surge, yeah, at the beginning of your action phase, you destroy it and create. So for your next turn, this card right here will be perfect for like setting up like the big like maybe 3 or 4 cost actions. All right, guys. Well, that's honestly it. Let me see. Yep. So that's it. Let me go ahead and put up the leader one more time. You guys tell me what y'all thought about this. Do y'all think it would be? Let me bring some lighting back to my face. There we go. Do you guys think it'd be a cool idea to have this kind of leader in the game, or would it be too defensive and like unfun or something? Because like I said, I actually think they could balance it pretty well if they made it where you really, really have to rely on having cards in your soul, number one, crush, and then you know, yellow cards. Like if they force you down a yellow card path, that will get a few cards out of the way immediately. Like the Pulverize we were looking at, all of a sudden that card's just not as good. You know what I mean? Not to say it's bad. I'm just saying, like, for what we're trying to do with the deck, it's just not as beneficial to run a card like that. Now, you'd still probably want to run a few of these cards, like Spinal Crush. You'd want to run a few of those. You would want to run a few of these cards. But remember, there's cards we don't even know about yet that they'd be able to print with this. Like, for example, some type of Light Guardian action that has Crush in it. You see what I'm saying? Like special cards like that could really benefit this hero specifically. And then, of course, the specialization cards that are specific only to that hero. But yeah, again, guys, I know I'm getting my hopes up a little bit here, but I really, really hope that someday in the future, LSS, if you're listening, please in the future, get me a Light Guardian hero. That's what I'm asking. You guys tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. Again, let's please keep it civil. Please be respectful. I want to hear what you guys have to say, though. What kind of ideas do y'all have? Tell me what y'all are thinking. What do y'all think about this hero? Like I said, is it going to be too busted? Have y'all ever thought of this? Has anyone else ever thought about this hero? Has anyone ever else thought of like a Paladin-style hero in Flesh and Blood? I would love to hear about it. Tell me what y'all think, guys. All right, I'm done rambling. Please do not forget to like and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed, and until next time, peace.